Before we proceed to the evening Aarti, I would request all devotees to kindly mute themselves during the discourse. I now ask Indrani Adhikari to sing the Aarti for us. Over to Indrani Adhikari.
Thank you, Arpita. Pranam Maharaj.
Pranam Maharaj.
Kandana bandha Jagabhushana Siddhana Samadara Shana Premadana Shana Madarashana Premarpana Samadarashana Jagajana Dukhajay Namo Namo Prabhu Bhakmanatit Namo Namo Prabhu Bhakmanatit Manavachanai Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji.
May I now request Swamiji to begin the discourse. Swamiji.
Om Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Hari Om Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramakrishna. Indeed, very happy to meet all the devotees of Muscat and also from other places who have joined today. A very happy Bangla New Year, because to most of you, I have not met in this year. It's the first time I'm meeting. Also, today is a story time for all of you. As you know, the title says, A Tale of Two Birds. Those who are acquainted with Vedanta, those who study Upanishads, or those who hear lectures on Vedanta by many swamis, you would be acquainted with the two birds definitely. And those two birds perched on the same tree, together sitting in, of course, wonderful hues, in wonderful colors. One bird eating sweet fruits as well as bitter fruits. Another bird sitting quietly, not eating, but looking at it. This example is very well known from the Mundaka Upanishad. This example has been repeated in many places. Even Swamiji has quoted this, and he loved this particular verse. How so beautifully the Rishi in those times has composed Suparna, Sayuja, Sakhaya, Samanam Vriksham, Parishaswajate. So, Dwa Suparna, two birds, Sayuja, Sakhaya. They are together. And Sakhaya, that's their friends, that means they are together. And Samanam Vriksham, the same Vriksha in the tree, over the tree, they are sitting. What they are doing? Tayor Anya. Pipalam Swad Ati. So, in that, of the two birds, one bird is eating. Ati means eating. So, it is eating. What is eating? Pipalam Swad. Sometimes very pleasant, sometimes bitter. Ananya bird is not eating at all, looking at it. So this example is given for informing us. The Rishi says that there are two birds in the same tree. That means the two birds are, one is Jivatma and another is Paramatma. The two are there the same. The Jivatma is experiencing the life, the bitter as well. In that, it comes very near to another bird, which is sitting there, but it is not eating anything. That means not experiencing anything. And that bird it sees. And so how the second bird has come here? And it just looks like me. And then it goes nearby and it is no more there. And it sees there is only one bird. So there is only Atman alone abides, nothing else. Whatever the duality that we see, they are not real. So this idea is brought out in the Upanishads. So some of the devotees wrote to me, Maharaj, are you going to speak on this Mundaka Upanishad, two birds? I didn't reply to them. I said, come to the talk on that day, I will tell you. Yes, I'm not going to speak on these two birds. I'm going to speak to you some other two birds. Because on 21st April, all over the world, all the Hindus and even non-Hindus in Southeast Asian countries, we all celebrated the birth of the great Mahapurush. And he was none other than Bhagavan Ramachandra. So Bhagavan's Rama Navami was celebrated by all of us. So in his story, which is called Ramayana, there are many animals, many birds, so many other beings that how that Sita was very fascinated by a golden deer. And you know that under Sugriva, the king Sugriva, there was a great minister who was a bear. And the entire battalion of monkeys were there. And there are other birds that come in and between. There are many birds one bird came and stayed in Chitrakoot with Mother Sita, that parrot. So likewise, you find many other birds and beings are also there. Even Ramakrishna's example says in one place, he says about a small medak. Medak means, a frog. He says, the same Chitrakoot where Ram was walking, and then Medak, every day it used to come in the morning and make pranam to him. So it's like a wishing, good morning. And Sri Ram used to see that. One day, while going on walking, he could not see that. And he was worried. And he told Mother Sita, you see, Sita, I am not finding my friend frog. Where has he gone? So Lakshmana went and searched. And finally, they found that frog lying under a leaf, a big leaf. So slowly it was retrieved from that place. And Sri Ram took it on his palm. And then he talked to that frog. In Ramayana, all the animals, all the birds, all the humans speak. So this bird he asked, this frog he asked, what has happened to you? Why you did not come today? Then the frog said, oh Lord, I was hurt today. That's why I could not come out. Were you hurt? I have told you whenever you get any difficulty, you must call me. Why? Sri Rama asked me for us. It came from you. When you hurt, then to whom I will go and tell? Sri Ramakrishna gives this as a beautiful example, that in the Bhakti Yoga he says that how this, if Lord himself is putting you in a bad place, would you complain about that? Should you complain or? So that is the question that is raised. So this frog is told. So like that, there are many beings we find in Ramayana. What happened? The Ramayana story is a very long story. People, when you ask some question, they start answering in a very lengthy way. Then language we say, don't talk Ramayana. And each verse contains 2 lines. That means 48,000 lines are there, minimum. If any other chanda comes there, then the lines will be not less than 48,000 lines. So it's a huge, it's called epic. So many of us feel that Ramayana and Mahabharata are falling under the category of Puranas. Mind you, I tell everywhere, wherever I go and speak about Ramayana and Mahabharata, that never conclude that way. Puranas are a different type of literature. Ramayana and Mahabharata are not called Puranas. They are called epics, itihasas. So the very beautiful meaning of the word itihasa is itihasa. Thus it happened. That is the meaning. So itihasa is a history. Thus it happened at some long, long back. So who wrote this Ramayana? Naturally, we all say Valmiki. The Kavita, that is the versification in the language introduced. So he's called Adi Kavi. And Valmiki wrote this. He was a great Muni of Tapasya. Though he was a robber in the early stages, but when he became a Muni, then he was completely different. This Valmiki, he wrote it 24,000 verses. So it's huge. And it has got 7 kanda, as they call it. Though many scholars say only 6 kandas were written by him. The 7th kanda, Uttara Kanda, was later interpolated, they say. It is introduced by some other person wrote and he introduced that. That's what it is. Anyway, that is all historical things. We are not worried here. We are now looking into the Ramayana story, and the story is well known to everybody. But particularly these two birds, we have heard about it, about them, but we may not know some details. So I thought since Ramanavami had come only 2 weeks back, so why not we touch upon some theme of Ramayana where the two birds come. So the story goes on like this. I'll tell you, the story, though it is 24,000 verse story, Sanskrit language is such a beautiful language. It has been, whole story has been converted into one shloka. One shloka. So that is called Ekashloki Ramayanam. The whole Ramayana, if you ask me to tell in brief, in one verse, how do I say? So what a beautiful verse it is there. It will be so interesting to see that. That's why I'm going to read to you. It's such a beautiful one. It says, one shloka contains the Kanchanam, Vaidehi Haranam, Jatayu Maranam, Sugriva Sambhashanam, Vali Nirdalanam, Samudra Taranam, Lanka Puri Dahanam, Paschat Ravana Kumbhakarna Haranam, Etadhi Ramayanam. So he says, the poet says, Etadhi Ramayana. That's all Ramayana. What is that? That's all. Etadhi, this is that. What is that? That's all. So the he stands for all. As you say in English. So that's all the Ramayana. So he says, Adav, that is in the beginning, Rama Tapovanadi Gamanam. Rama went to forest as a ascetic. He left his kingdom, you see. Then he left Ayodhya as an ascetic. And he went there. What he did there? Hatva Mrigam Kanchanam. There is a beautiful golden deer, Kanchana Mriga. And that was Hatva. That was killed. So Rama went to forest. The golden deer was killed. Vaidehi Haranam. Vaidehi means Mother Sita. Mother Sita was taken away, abducted. There one story ends. Then Jatayu Maranam. One bird, Jatayu, was killed. It died. Sugriva Sambhashanam. So Ram met Sugriva and they became friends. Then Vali Nirdalanam. Vali was removed from the story. He was killed. Samudra Taranam. The ocean was crossed over. Then what happened? Lanka Puri Dahanam. The Lanka burnt. And then Paschat, thereafter, what happened? The Ravana Kumbhakarna Hananam. Ravana and Kumbhakarna were killed. That's all the Ramayana. Etadhi Ramayanam. So in one verse, the whole story has come. The important part of the story has been brought out. So in this Ekashloki, all the parts that has been brought into this Ekashloki, one verse shloka, every part is so important. That's why they have been brought. There are many, many more incidents in Ramayana, but all those things were not brought. So whatever brought in one shloka, I consider each of that part is very, very important. In that one line, two words comes Jatayu Maranam. So today I am going to take you through the story of Jatayu and his brother bird called Sambati. These are the two birds that are so important. Even the Rishi decided to bring it in one verse also. You see, hundreds of instances have been omitted. But whatever he took, the two words, one word, those are all very important for Ramayana. The story could not move on without these two parts. That's why these are all important. That's why I'm telling today we shall think of these episodes of Jatayu and Sampati. From where we shall start? We shall have to start from Kishkinda Kanda, where the Rama meets Sugriva and Sugriva becomes friends. And then after some time, Sugriva neglects his duty. Then Lakshmana goes to him and then he challenges him. Then Sugriva understands. Then he calls for, because it was a rainy season, he was waiting. So the rainy season be over. In India, we have got 6 seasons, mind you. Unlike in Europe, here we have got only 4 seasons. And of course, in Ireland, they say in one day you have 4 seasons. That is also we are seeing. Suddenly bright sun, suddenly clouds come, then rains come. And suddenly it goes to 16 degrees. Suddenly it goes to -2 degrees. Yesterday, it was -1 degree in Dublin. So, of course, it is summer has started now. But then, so in one day we have 4 seasons. So in India, that in those days also, we had 6 seasons. So the rainy season was there, place that where Sugriva was there. Sugriva became king and he's telling to Ram and Lakshmana, please excuse me, I'm waiting for the rainy season to be over. Then I will send in search of Mother Sita all over the place. Already they knew that Ravana took Sita to the southern direction. So naturally, it was easy for them to pinpoint which place. It is the southern direction. That much is known. But the southern direction, and Ravana has got many palaces in many places. So where he has kept Sita, in which palace he has kept Sita, nobody knows. Because Ravana was Ravana Samrajya, his kingdom, widespread. He had many, many bungalows. They are called palaces. So they are all there at different places. So in order to find out where Sita is hidden, let us send the Vanara Sena, the force, monkey force. So all the monkeys came together and became very dear to Sri Ram. You know that Yatra Yatra Raghunatha ki Vashpavari there, and that is Hanuman. Tatra Tatra. And how Hanuman remains there? Kritamastaka Anjalim. He has got Anjali pose. Anjali pose is bringing 2 palms together. And inside the palms, you must keep 1 flower. Then only it becomes Anjali. If there is no flower within my palms, and I say like this is called Namaste posture. This is not Anjali. But if you keep something inside the palms and hold it like this, then that is called Anjali. Krita Mastaka Anjali. Anjali pose he is standing, and Krita Mastaka, his head is not like this, like a major general is looking. No, his head is bowed down. That bowing down, that is very important with Hanuman, because Hanuman is humility personified, as they say. His ego is equal to 0. That's what they used to say. He had no ego. Such a humble person. So naturally, a humble person would be putting his head down. So Krita Mastakam, Anjali. Then he says, Vashpavari, Paripurna Lochana. Lochana means eyes. Paripurna, the eyes were filled with what? With water. Naturally, what is that water? We all have the waters in our eyes. When we weep, when we cry, the waters come out from our eyes. They are called tears. Tears are watery. They are not solid, they are liquid. So watery portion of the tear, water comes from our eyes. Okay, his eyes are filled with water. Vari. Vari means water. But one adjective Tulsidas uses for vari. He says, Vashpavari Paripurna Lochanam. What a beautifully he says, what it is warm water. Have you ever touched when you are very sad and tears were coming? Did you touch the tears and experience whether it was warm or cold? Perhaps we have never done it because nobody tells us. So when I am crying, nobody is going to tell me, you test your water of your eye, whether it is cold or hot. Nobody will ask me. So we are not told. But then Tulsidas clearly says Vashpavari. Till I came to Ramakrishna and started studying the literature, only after reading Sri Ramakrishna's Vachanamrit, that is our Kathamrita, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, there only Sri Ramakrishna explains. He says there are two kinds of tears. One is tears of sorrow. Tears of joy. And he says, tears. Oh, that's why Tulsidas, 300 years before, he wrote, Vashpavari Paripurna Lochanam, Marutim Namata Rakshasa Antakam. One has put an end to the Rakshasa Kula, that is Rakshasa Antakam. So he was the Antaka, he was the putting an end to that. So that Marutim, I bow down. So this Ramayana is such a wonderful epic, Itihasa. It is, reading itself is so wonderful. It has got many benefits. There are in southern India, Sundarakanda of the Ramayana has become very famous. And there are Pandits who express these Sundarakanda ideas for days, 7 days, 10 days, or 9 nights. They do that, Sundarakanda. Sundarakanda part. To another, oh, where have we come? We are going to leave our prana. We are going to die. Then it doesn't matter. Let us depressed. Their mindset is so much depressed. They did not know what to do. Among them, Hanuman also was there. Hanuman also was depressed. Later only we come to know the exploits of Hanuman, you see. But before that, how was he? He was completely depressed. And everybody was so depressed. Jambavan, he could not know what to say to them. They were all so much depressed. He is also not finding any food for him. So everybody is so melancholic mood. At that time, they look on the sky as if the sky itself is completely hidden. Like that, a bird, so huge size, a bird is descending from the hills. And the bird is loudly talking. What is it telling? It is telling, I have been absolutely on fast for more than a year. I could not get any food for me. Today, I'm finding that a feast has been arranged by Lord for me. I'm thankful to the Lord who has arranged a feast for me. So many monkeys are sitting here. I am going to have a feast for days together. I am going to eat one by one. Stomach is hankering for some food. So that bird, and it is so huge size, and it is coming down and telling loudly, all the monkeys heard it. Already you can understand, they are all depressed state. And in that they are hearing a big bird is coming, is going to eat one by one. Oh, would this be our fate given to this bird? And this bird is not a small bird. It is the eagle only, but it is not looking small. It is very huge. So monkeys are much more devastated by seeing this bird coming down slowly. Then Angad and Jamban, they are talking. Angad is loudly telling Jamban, hey Jamban, you are the eldest person here and you are the minister to our king, Sugriva. Today, we are all going to pass away. We are going to meet our death. Death is coming. See on the hill, that bird is coming down and it is telling it is having a feast today. So we must be ready to death, die. Is that so? What? And Jamban says, yes. If that is the fate given to us, we shall die. But then Angad says, hey Jamban, what is the fun of this whole life? I cannot understand the head and tail of the story of our lives. Yes. One eagle bird came and helped Sri Ram. And here, another eagle bird is coming to kill the Ram's sevaks. We are all servants of Sri Ram. The same eagle jati, one bird helped Sri Ram and another bird is trying to kill us. What a life. I cannot understand what is this life going on. We all pass through such a challenging situation in our own lives. There are certain situations that you do not know what to do. And that was the situation of the monkeys. And then this Jamban say, don't compare that eagle which helped Sri Ram. Is there any other bird equivalent to that bird? Then Angad says, what was the name of the bird? Jatayu. There is no comparison of Jatayu to any other bird. Jatayu was a great rishi, like that is telling. The bird that was coming down the hills, it heard 100. His name was Jatayu. The moment this bird heard the name Jatayu, he sat down. He put that big belly on the ground. Have you seen him? Where did you find him? Several thousand years have passed. I have not met my brother. Then Jamban says, oh, we didn't know that Jatayu was your brother. You know, who was Jatayu? See, what we heard from Sri Ram, we can tell the story of Jatayu. Then this bird says, his name is Sampati. So Jamban says, hey Sampati, before hearing about Jatayu, we would like to hear about your story. Who are you? After hearing the name Jatayu, your tone has changed. You are speaking very lovingly. Are you going to eat us or not? Tell us. He said, no, if Jatayu has done some good thing to you all, I will also follow that. If he has done some benefits to you, I will also give some benefits. I am not a Rakshasa. I am a very dharmic bird. So don't worry. So you tell me first the Jatayu story so that I can tell you my story later. Because I am so much engrossed in wanting to hear my brother, what has happened to him. Is he okay? That's what Sampati asked. Then Jamban said, no, it's a flashback. Jamban is going now. He said, yes, I have heard Dasharatha's name long back. Do you know that Dasharatha and my brother Jatayu were friends of Raja Dasharatha? And Jamban said, well, I never know that. Okay, you are friends of Lord Dasharatha. Yes, Dasharatha and me, myself are great friends. You know what has happened was Dasharatha was invited by Indra to have a fight, a battle with one Asura. He was named as Sambarasura. So the Sambarasura could not be controlled by Indra. He wanted some help. So from the earth, he took Dasharatha's help. You know, Dasharatha was a greatest warrior of those times. What type of warrior he was? He could fight at one place, standing at one place, and moving to 10 places. That was called Dasharatha. That means at 1 second you are seeing Dasharatha here, and within the same time gap, you can see in 10 places Dasharatha. Dasharatha can go to 10 places. And he can do the war. Such an expert. So that means in 10 chariots, he can stand at the same time, as if he's having standing at 10 chariots. Not that. He will stand in one chariot only, but he looks like stand up. But the so quick movement of his, that movement showed that he is at 10 places. So that's such great. Dasharatha came, and then this Asura was killed. And then from the heaven, he was coming down to the earth. On his way, and Jatayu was my brother. He was at that time moving in the Akasha, in the sky. And he saw that King Dasaratha was slowly coming back to earth. Suddenly, the Saturn, Shani came there. You know, Shani Drishti, they call it. If Shani Drishti falls upon you, according to astrology, that is also a science, astrology, you know, Vigyan, Jyotir Vigyan, it is called. If the Shani Drishti falls upon you, you will be in trouble. So Shani himself knew that Dasharatha came up to the heavens to fight that Asura along with our, so he has helped us. That means I should not look at Dasaratha. If I look at Dasaratha, he will be in trouble. So what Shani did was, Shani turned his gaze and his gaze fell on the chariot of Dasaratha. And the chariot burnt immediately. And Dasaratha was coming, chariot is no more, and by the gravitational pull of the earth, he will fall down. At that moment, Jatayu went and took him on his wings. And then he brought him down very comfortably. Dasharatha said, hey Jatayu, you have saved me. You are my great friend from today onwards. Come, let us be friends. And Jatayu said, yes, we are two bodies, but one in our jiva, in our soul. One soul in two bodies. That's how we became friends with Dasaratha. Sampati also had gone many times and met Dasharatha. So Sampati says, Dasharatha is what happened to Dasharatha? Dasharatha is dead. He had 4 sons, and Rama, the eldest, and the next brother, Lakshmana, both of them, with their wife Sita, they have come to the forest. 13 years they stayed in forest. There was no problem. And on the 13th year, the Asura Ravana came from Lanka and he abducted Mother Sita, Ram's wife. Now we are here in search of Mother Sita. Where has Ravana kept her? We want to find out. We want to investigate that. That's why we all come here, and then we saw the sea. It's a huge sea. Wherever you see only waters. We don't know how to now jump to Lanka. So we are all seated here and no food and no water to drink. So we are all starving. We are anyway going to die. If you want to kill us and take us as your food, you are free to take. Jamban gives this idea to Sampati. Sampati says, no, my brother, I will never take any of your life. Because what has happened to my brother Jata, you tell after that. Then when they were there, when Ravana abducted Mother Sita, it was Jatayu who saw that. You know, Jatayu saw that. How did Jatayu come to see Sri Ram and Lakshmana and Sita? For that also, Jamban told a story. When they were in Chitrakoot, they were looking for that. In the meantime, Ram has destroyed many of the Asuras. You know, if you study the Ramayana, so one by one he has already done. Many Asuras have been removed in those parts. So when Chitrakoot stayed, and the rishis, munis used to come to him in Chitrakoot. And Chitrakoot, Mother Sita used to cook for daily for 3,000 to 5,000 rishi munis. They all would come to see Ram, sit with Sri Ram. They would have satsang. And Ram would be very nicely speaking to them. And all these things and one day, Ravana came and abducted Mother. Monks only to the beggar. But then the Bhikari said, there is a line. Why don't you come out of the line? She remembered. Lakshmana has warned her, don't come out of this line. Don't cross over this line. It is called Lakshmana Rekha. You know, we all say that Lakshmana Rekha. In our normal language also we use. Don't cross the Lakshmana Rekha. So, and then, anyway, she was motherly heart. She had to give to him. So, disrespecting Lakshmana's advice or disregarding Lakshmana's advice, she came out and Ravana abducted her. At that time, she was crying loudly. Hearing the cry of a lady, I was moving at that time. You know, that's my duty. I am giving para. That is, I am giving water. From the sky, I saw one young man with his wife, seemed to be his wife, and another look alike, maybe a brother. So 2 men and 1 woman were walking towards me. And the woman is shuddering in fear. And she's telling the man that, look, this bird seems to be huge. What a huge size. I have never seen this. Mother Sita is telling Ram that I have never seen this. Maybe some Asura. Get ready with your arrow and bow. She's advising Sri Ram. Ram smiled. Let me ask, who is he? Let me talk to him. Then if he is Asura, I will use my arrow. Don't worry, Sita. He assured her. And then he looked at this bird. And this bird was Jatayu. Jatayu says, I heard Sita addressing you as Ram. Are you the son of Dasharatha? Ram said, yes. I am the son of Dasharatha, the first son of Dasharatha. he is Lakshmana, and she is my Bharya, that is wife, Sita. Then Jatayu raises his body, and such a huge body, it's a mountain-like body, that's what Ramayana says. Valmiki describes the hugeness of Jatayu. He couldn't get any other example what is a mountain. Sri Ram and pats him. He says, "Hey Jatayu, you look very old." He said, "Yes, my age is 1,000 years. 1,000 years I'm living. Naturally, I'm old. But still, I have that majesticity, you see." And Jatayu stood in his full straight and they all the three saw. And he says, "Ram, you have come to this place. You are going to stay. As long as you stay here, it is my duty to be a guard to all the three of you. Nothing will happen to you. No harm can come upon you. I am guarding the sky. From the sky, I can see what is happening anywhere. So I shall guard you three." That is the word Jatayu gives. And Sita makes wonderful dishes, So she made him, because he is a friend of Dasaratha, her father-in-law's friend is like father-in-law. That is the tradition, in the Hindu tradition. If anybody says that you are a friend of your father, how you should treat him? You should treat him like your father. If he says you are a friend of your uncle, how do you treat him? You treat him as an uncle. That is how the treatment that we are all taught. And Sita exactly did everything for him, as if Dasharatha is next to her, how she would show her hospitality. So she prepared nice food, fed him nicely, and Jatayu flew back. So Jatayu was there. On that day, while he was doing this roaming on the sky, he heard the sound, Arthanad as it is called, of Mother Sita. So he flew to where the sound came, and he found Ravana holding the hair of Mother Sita, dragging her to the chariot and threw her the corner of the chariot. And Sita fell down. And with that, she is crying, "Hey Sri Ram, hey Lakshmana, where are all of you?" Like that she's crying. She only sent Sri Ram to get that Kanchana Mrigam, that golden deer. And Lakshmana was kept by Sri Ram as her guard. But she only sent away Lakshmana, speaking very, very bad mouth words. She actually harangued upon him. "Hey Lakshmana, you should not stand here. Your brother is in danger." And he is shouting, "Hey Lakshmana, I'm hearing that. Go and save your brother." So she told so many other things also. If you read Ramayana, you see that. And then Lakshmana could not hear those words of Mother Sita, because to him, Sita is none other than mother. It is said in the 14 years of his stay with Ram and Sita in that forest, not one time Lakshmana looked at the face of Mother Sita. That's what Ramayana says. Not one time he looked at her face. His eyes are always focused on her feet only. What a great Lakshmana's devotion to Mother Sita. And that Lakshmana had to leave the place, putting one line. "Don't come, Mother Sita, crossing this line." He warned her and he went away. So now Sita is in the hands of Ravana. So Jatayu comes before Ravana and sits on the chariot of Ravana, that on the brink of the chariot, and the chariot is unable to move. Ravana's chariot, there is no charioteer is required. If Ravana says, "Let it go to Kashi," the chariot will take him to Kashi. That is how the technology was so advanced. You think and it moves. And that chariot could not move because of the weight of Jatayu Pakshi, Jatayu bird. And now there's such stunned. Ravana asked him, "Who are you? Why are you stopping me from my travel?" Said, "I won't stop you. This moment itself I will fly away. You put back Sita in her place." He said, "Why are you coming to talk to about Sita? Who is she to you?" "He is my daughter-in-law." "She's my daughter-in-law. You cannot abduct my daughter-in-law." "So what? Fight with me. That is the only way." Then they started fighting. Ravana had a wonderful sword. The sword was given by Lord Shiva himself, but with one condition. Only once in his lifetime he can use the sword. Second time he cannot use the sword. The sword will become like a paper. That sword he had on the day. And since this Jatayu bird started thrashing upon him and fighting with him, and where is Ravana? Mighty Ravana. He was in his youthful period at the time. And where is Jatayu, who is 1,000 years old? There is no equal. Might was there. But still, Jatayu being so old, still he fought. He used his talons. He used his beaks, very strong beaks. And with that, Ravana was really bruised everywhere. And finally, no more able to withstand the attack of this bird, Ravana took that sword, knowing very well this sword can be used only once, and he cut the wings of Jatayu. A bird cannot move without wings. It can walk on the two legs on the ground, but on the sky, it has got no power. So Jatayu thrashed to the ground. And that was the state that when Ram and Lakshmana, searching for Sita, came and they saw Jatayu. What a condition. And Jatayu is telling in a very, very minimal tone, "Hey Sri Ram, hey Sri Ram, hey Sri Ram." Because he was going to die. Before death, he wants to meet Sri Ram. And Ram is searching for everywhere. And he heard this. He asked Lakshmana, "Who is telling my name? Let us go to him." God's name is so powerful. If you take the name of God, God will come to you. Sri Ramakrishna says. If you take one step, you don't need to take 10 steps. 9 steps will be taken by God. Only the name does the wonder. That is the Nama Mahima. That is what happened. Jatayu was telling Sri Ram's name. And because he embraced, Rama embraced him and said, "Jatayu, hey, great man, what has happened to you? You are like this. What has happened?" Then Jatayu slowly tells the incident that has happened. Ravana came and he has taken her and it flew towards southern side. This much I saw, and I am now going to leave my body. In Valmiki Ramayana, when you read the Jatayu Patalam, that is Jatayu incident, you will shed tears, I tell you. Why? It is so movingly written by Valmiki. Today morning, I was reading that passages. I don't have time to tell you those passages. Otherwise, such a beauty. You can yourself read in the internet. You go to that English Valmiki Ramayana, you read, and you see the passage. His Aranya Kanda, it comes. And he says that what is happening? Rama takes the bird and puts him on his lap. And he says, "You are going to leave the body now. Since you called me, I am going to give you mukti. You will reach a place where the greatest tapasvis after death go, where the people who charitably give away their own possessed lands to others, those people, where they go. And to the devotees who die taking the name of the Lord in their mouth, where they go, to that place I am sending you. And then the moment the last breath has gone from Jatayu, Ram and Lakshmana cried copiously, shed tears. And then Ram says to Lakshmana, Lakshmana, he is like my father. I have to do the final rites for him. So bring fire for him. So the fire was brought, the body was kept there. And then all the Vedic mantras Rama chanted, because there was no priest there. Rama was a Kshatriya. He was not a Brahmana, you see. So those mantras have to be chanted by the priest. But there was no priest in the jungle. So he himself chanted those Vedic mantras because he knew. And then he made the final rites for Jatayu. So this Jatayu had a great benefit of coming into the touch of Sri Ram. What a great devotee. This Jatayu and Sampati, they both are brothers. The story of Jatayu's death, Sampati shed tears. Oh, that was the fate of my brother. But I will see by my eyes, because I have got the eagle eye. You know, whoever can do nicely proofreading, etc., we say, oh, that person has got an eagle eye. So I make it a EE, say. If you have EE, then I will give you to rectify. So EE is very important, eagle eye. So that eagle eyes, that Sampati stood on the top of the mountain and he looked at Lanka. He has the power to zoom in. So he zoomed in, slowly, as like a television screen. And in the zoom in, he saw Vibhishana's place. He saw Ravana's palace. And he saw Ashokavana next to Ravana's palace. It's only walking distance. And in that Ashokavana, under the tree, Sita is sitting there, completely shokanvita, completely distressed. She was sad. She was sitting there, he could see. And then he told Hanuman, Jamban, and other monkeys, I have seen Sita. Sita is staying there. While telling the story and seeing Sita, his wings started growing. So you must have wondered, when I started telling about Sampati, I never said Sampati flew down from the hill. I said he walked down the hill. What does it mean? He never had his wings. So the story says, when Sampati and Jatayu, in their childhood days, they started making fun. You know, two boys are there in the hall, they will play. So the two boys were playing with each other. And one day Jatayu, being his junior, he asked Sampati, I am seeing sun on the distant. Why not we go to sun and meet our father? Whose father? The Jatayu and Sampati were the sons of Aruna. Aruna is the charioteer of Lord's son, the Surya Dev. Let us go and meet him. Then the elderly boy, Sampati, says, my dear brother, it is not possible to go. No, I want to go. Let us fly. So who will fly first? So they speeded up and they are flying, and nearing sun. The sun is hot, temperature from 16 degrees, it is rising and is going nearer to sun. Naturally, the temperature will be high. And then the younger boy, Jatayu, could not manage. At that very moment, Sampati comes over and put his wings over him so that the Jatayu's wings are not scorched. But with the result, Sampati's wings got scorched. So Jatayu brings back his elder brother to that mountain hill where he was staying for 1,000 years. And there, he was staying there, no wings. But then when Rishi came, Chandrama Rishi, he told him, don't worry, when you see Sakshat Mahalakshmi in Lanka, your wings will start growing. And that's what happened. When he started telling, and his wings started growing, and he became full-fledged Sampati. Then Sampati also does the last rites for his brother there. So with their information only, they got the news that Sita staying in Lanka was confirmed. And the place spot also was confirmed. Then you know how Jamban praises Hanuman, and then Hanuman realizes his power, and then he crosses over, finds Sita, comes back to Sri Ram and tells, I have found Sita, he says. And then finally, the whole story ends nicely. So the Jatayu and Sampati, the two birds, I call it a tale of two birds. So such wonderful ideas are there. When I tell this to children, I tell the children, what are the ethical ideas, moral ideas that you derive from this story? And you know, you'll be surprised. The ideas that we have as elders, we have not thought of. The children's, they will speak about 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. So in the same way, now I throw open this audience to every one of you. You can either give your comment or remarks or question, any question. Yes, you can request.
Yeah. Devotees, any questions you all want to ask?
মহারাজ আমি
Please
ছবি
go
বলছি
ahead.
আমার প্রণাম নেবেন আমার না
Today, that two great brothers, their affection is being shown in this particular incident, Sampati and Jatayu, and it was so nice to hear the story of the tale of two birds.
Yes.
And we could see the sacrifice each one does for each other. We could really feel it.
Right.
Jai Sadguru. Radhe Krishna.
Thank you, Narayana. It's a wonderful way to remember these stories, you know. How Ramayana has become, somebody asked me, you know, in one of my Vedantic talks, they said, why the modern Hindus are not acquainted with the Vedas? Why they don't read Vedas? This question comes very much in our circles, you know. We talk about Upanishads, we talk about Vedic, you know, Karma Kanda mantras, etc., stotras, etc. Why we are not reading Vedas at all? If anybody asks, what is your scripture? The Hindu will say, Vedas is my scripture. As a Christian will say, Bible is my scripture. As a Muslim will say, Quran is my scripture. As a Buddhist will say, one scripture. So everybody has got a scripture and they read the scripture. But only Hindus do not read Vedas. Why? See, this is a very good question. I also think over that. It is not necessary to read Vedas to be a Hindu. You know, that is how that place has been filled up with the epics, Ramayana and Mahabharata. Do you know in North India, in a Hindi-speaking household, they read Ramcharitmanas regularly. That is enough for them. Ramcharitmanas contains all the ideas of Vedanta inside. If you go to Tamil Nadu, you can read Kambaramayanam. That Kambaramayanam contains all the ideas. In the same way, you go to Bengal, Kirtibas Ramayana is enough for you. Study Vedas and Upanishads, except a few Brahmin families. It is because these itihasas have taken the imagination, caught the imagination of the public. So we all are happy. So Ramayana, knowing itself, is enough for your life's goal. That is your moksha. That means you can understand how important these itihasas are. And they give such wonderful ideas. Yes, thank you, Narayan, for spelling out that the great attraction and affection between the two brothers. Anyone else?
Maharaj, I have one question.
Yes, please.
When this bird is supposed to eat the monkeys. So the word is heard by all the Vanarasena. So when the bird knows they are his brothers, uh, his brother friends or something like that. So is that attachment made the bird to sacrifice, or
no? What is sacrifice? What is sacrifice? Food.
yes?
Okay. One day, two. He could do. Is that important? Or to keep up with the brothers' beneficiaries? They have done so much to their leader Ram was friend of Jatayu, not friend, but Jatayu is a friend of Dasaratha and Ram's father. And Jatayu did so much. He gave up his own life in protecting Sita. And should he not give, even if he does something to these monkeys and die here, that will be a great thing. See, ideal is much better, than the food. Yes. You understand the greatness of Sampati, you see.
Yeah.
And then Sampati only takes them to another place where in the hill he shows them the food. Wonderful Deva fruits, that Devaloka fruits are there, and they all ate to their content, That also Sampati only does later.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay.
Pranam Maharaj.
Namaskar. Somebody else who is talking now?
My name is Rajiv.
Yes. Because when you say Bhakti Yogi, don't exclude Jnana and
he has to unmute. If you just say that he has to unmute, he is speaking, but he doesn't remember that he has to unmute.
He's that Mukherjee from Delhi. I saw his face. Is he still there or he has left? Mukherjee from Delhi.
No, so but he has to unmute.
On the kashta of Jatayu.
Yeah, Maharaj. Yes, see.
Otherwise, the words will not come out from his mouth like.
আমরা দেরি করে জয়েন করেছি কিন্তু মানে শুনেছি পুরো গল্পটাই।
But when we have entered attended the satsang, we have not only got enlightened about the story, but also realized the love that we must express towards our own brothers and how we should, do our karma so that we all can slowly. Thank you, Swamiji. From the past 4 months, you have touched various different topics, taught different teachings, so that in this difficult time, where we all are suffering all around the world, we can keep ourselves calm. We can take the name of Lord, and we can then help others without any any hesitation in our small ways, and thus we can all overcome this huge pandemic. Maharaj, bless all of us so that we can all come out of this and always be gratitude and grateful to the Almighty that we are safe in our house and able to help others. Thank you, Maharaj.
Maharaj, do you have a little time so that I can sing a small Ram bhajan for you and everybody?
Well, sing.
Mm. Shri Ram Chandra Kripalu Bhaj Man Karana Bhava Bhaya Darunam Navakanja Lochana Kanja Mukha Kara Kanja Pada Kanjarunam Shri Ram Chandra Kripalu Bhajamana Karana Bhava Bhaya Darunam Kandarpa Aganita Amita Chavi Navanila Nirad Sundaram Patpitman Hutare Ruchi Suchi Nami Janakasutavaram Sri Rama Chandra Kripalu Bhava Bhaya Darunam Idvadati Tulsidas Shankar Mama Kunja Nivas Kuru Kamadi Kaladhala Kripalu Bhajamana Karana Bhava Bhaya Karana Bhava Bhaya Darunam Karana Bhava Bhaya Darunam. Thank you, Maharaj, to give a patient hearing. Thank you so much.
Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Rama Karnarpanastu.
Pranam Maharaj.
Okay.
Pranam Maharaj.
Durga,
Pranam Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj. We are always
Pranam Maharaj.
We leave the meeting, right?
thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Arpita, thank you so much for
Thank you, Didi. Thank you.
such a wonderful Amresh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Didi. Thank you, Didi.
Thank
And
you
thank
for
you
giving
everybody
me
for
chance.
joining.
Thank you for.
Hi. Thank you.
Jai Thakur, please join in for all our satsangs. Everybody's not invited. Warm welcome to everybody every time. Jai Thakur, Jai Ma, Jai
Jai
Swami.
Thakur, Jai
Jai-
Mata.
Jai Thakur.
Stay blessed. Yeah, stay blessed, stay safe. Let us all stay indoors and not complain. Okay, lovely. And Shanani, thank you so much. In such a short notice, you just joined in. Wonderful.
No, it's a pleasure. Thank you for telling us.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just,
just
yeah.
Nakho
When
Malwa
is
because
the next one? Do you know?
especially. Pardon, Didi?
Do you know when your next one is now?
Pardon?
Do you know when the next one is?
Next, no, not yet decided. We'll have to work it out and we'll let you know.
Okay.
It'll be in May, of course. Yeah, of course. We would always love to have you, have everybody. Please,
Great.
everybody join in every time.
Take care, and it's lovely seeing you. Bye, Grace.
Yeah.
Lovely
Thank
seeing you.
you. Bye. Thank you so much. Love to all. Bye.
Love to all too.